All right, buckle up, everyone, because we're about to dive headfirst into a Premier League matchup that, on paper, might seem like a done deal, but trust me, there's a lot more to this one.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking Manchester United hosting Crystal Palace at Old Trafford this Sunday. And, well, anyone who follows the Premier League, even casually, knows this is usually a pretty straightforward home win for the Red Devils.
Right, you'd think so. But this time around, things are a bit, well, spicier, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, spicy's a good word for it. I mean, you've got Man U under their new coach, really trying to find their rhythm and string some wins together.
Yeah, they seem to be, finally crawling out of that early season slump.
That's right. But then you've got Palace, and they've been quietly turning into a real force on the road, which is, well, not exactly how things usually go for them, especially at a place like Old Trafford.
Yeah, Old Trafford, the theater of dreams,
Mm.
historically a nightmare for visiting teams. Let's start with Man U's recent form, 3 wins in a row.
The first win streak of the season, actually.
First of the season, yeah, that's right. But 2 of those wins were against, well, let's be honest, lower league teams in the Europa League.
Exactly. And while they've managed to keep a clean sheet in their last two Premier League matches, those weren't exactly against, the league's attacking heavyweights.
Definitely not. So the question is, are they truly hitting their stride or just, padding their stats a bit?
Good question. I mean, if we dig a little deeper, the picture gets a bit, how do I put this? Less rosy. They've actually lost 4 of their last 5 Premier League games at Old Trafford.
Whoa, hang on. 4 out of 5 losses at home? That's not the Man U we're used to seeing.
No, not at all. And here's another stat that might raise some eyebrows. They haven't scored a single goal against Crystal Palace in their last 3 league meetings.
Wow, 3 games in a row without a goal against Palace.
Yep, you got to go all the way back to 1983 to find the last time they had a goalless drought like that against a single opponent.
That's, well, that's quite a mental hurdle to overcome, to say the least. Especially against this version of Crystal Palace, the, as we said, kings of the away game.
13 points on the road since December, more than any other team in the league.
And they're not just eking out wins, they're playing with some real confidence and swagger. 3 of their last 4 away wins have been clean sheets.
Yeah, you can't argue with those numbers. Their defense is rock solid on the road, which has got to be worrying for Man U, especially considering, their inconsistencies in front of goal.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's almost like Palace has cracked the code for playing away from home. They've figured out how to turn their opponent's home advantage into their own.
Exactly, and here's a stat that really drives that point home. Palace has actually won 3 out of their last 5 matches at Old Trafford. This is a ground where, historically, they barely even managed a draw.
Right, they were practically handing out 3 points to Man U at Old Trafford for years. But something's changed, clearly. I mean, just imagine, a win for Palace this weekend would actually see them leapfrog Man U in the standings. Talk about a role reversal.
And that brings us to, well, I guess the elephant in the room, Man U's new coach, Ruben Amorim. He came in with a lot of hype, a reputation for, this really attractive attacking style of football.
Right, 4-3-3, lots of emphasis on wing play, creating chances from wide areas.
Exactly. But, the reality is it's still very much a work in progress. He's yet to win consecutive league games. And, juggling the squad after that midweek Europa League game, trying to keep players fresh, that's going to be another big challenge for him.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how he manages the fatigue factor, especially with a game like this coming up. Speaking of interesting, there are a few players on both sides who I think are worth keeping a close eye on this weekend. For Man U, young Kobbie Mainoo had that, oh man, that spectacular breakout game in the Europa League, right?
Oh, you're talking about the kid who scored and assisted on his first European start.
That's the one.
Yeah, that was something special. The last Man U player to do that. Wayne Rooney, all the way back in 2004.
Talk about making an entrance. I mean, it's just one game, but it definitely suggests he could be, the next big thing at Old Trafford.
He's got the talent, that's for sure. Now, let's hope he avoids some of those questionable hairstyles that Rooney sported later in his career. But on the Palace side, keep an eye on their new signing, Romain Esse.
Oh, yeah, Esse, he made quite the first impression, scoring, what was it, within 2 minutes of coming on against Brentford.
2 minutes, that's right. Only 3 teenagers have ever scored in their first 2 Premier League appearances.
That's incredible. I bet they all have Man U connections, don't they? Just to add to the drama of this match.
You would think so, wouldn't you? But we'll save that trivia for later.
Okay, you've got me hooked. Back to this match then. But before we get too carried away talking about rising stars, let's not forget about the elephant in the room for Man U. Their struggles to, actually put the ball in the net.
Yeah, we can't ignore
They
that.
failed to score before halftime in get this, a staggering 17 out of their 23 league games this season. That's the most in the entire Premier League.
And that's got to be playing on their minds, especially at home where the expectations are so high.
Right, and that Old Trafford crowd, they can be, shall we say, a bit demanding when their team isn't performing. So imagine this. What happens if Palace, with their rock-solid away defense, manages to keep that first half clean sheet?
Oh, the pressure on Man U would be immense. The crowd will get restless. The players will start to feel it. Those nerves will start to creep in. It could become a real mental battle.
Okay, so we've laid it all out there. Man U's trying to find their footing. They've got this scoring drought to break.
Yeah.
And they're facing a Palace side that's been absolutely dominant on the road, especially at Old Trafford. So what does this all mean for you, the fans, the people who live and breathe the Premier League? Well, it means this match is way more unpredictable than it appears at first glance. Palace is coming in with a real chance to pull off what many would consider an upset.
And for Man U, this is a massive test. Can they finally break that scoring curse against Palace? Can they recapture the magic of Old Trafford and turn it back into the fortress it once was?
Big questions, no easy answers. What we do know is this Sunday's clash is going to be a must-watch. It's a battle of styles, a clash of narratives, and we'll be glued to our screens for every minute of it. Will Man U rise to the occasion, or will the Eagles continue to soar at Old Trafford?
That's the question, isn't it?
That's the question. One thing's for sure, this is a match you don't want to miss.